Uh, Great. So we're on, and actually, let me close some of my extra windows here I have open to try to avoid as much lag as possible. There we go. All right. Always grateful to life, God, our creator, and our ancestors for creating these awesome opportunities for us to be able to get together. And I just ask the time that we spend together, let it be very productive, informal, educational for everybody who is participating, whether they be joining us in the Zoom conversation or watching on YouTube or maybe watching the broadcast after the fact. Let everybody be educated. So thank you, Queen. Thank you for being present. And for those who are watching online and for those who are participating, I thank you all also for participating and just encouraging us in what we're doing. Fait que, bonjour tout le monde. Je vous remercie d'être ici et de participer avec nous ce soir. So the objective for this evening is just a community conversation. Within the OFC community, we do make it a point to create these platforms for us to be able to dialogue as members. We are here as a community to build with each other, to support each other in our growth within business and within life. And politics is an important aspect of what we're doing. So it is good to be able to dialogue as a community. Fait qu'encore, tout le monde, notre objectif pour ce soir, c'est juste créer un environnement où on peut discuter en termes de membres de la communauté. Notre objectif en termes de OFC, c'est toujours de créer des espaces comme cela où on peut se réunir ensemble en termes de membres de la communauté pour se soutenir en termes d'individus et en business et en vie. Quand on parle des politiques sont vraiment importants pour nous en termes de la communauté. So we're going to speak primarily in English, unless there is somebody who joins and participates and would prefer that we keep it bilingual or that would prefer to speak in French. But like we do sometimes, if it's necessary, on va faire un peu de franglais. If necessary, we can do a little English-French split, if needed. For those who don't know, the OFC stands for One Full Circle. We are the melanated community. We are an organization of individuals, businesses, as well as individuals, businesses, and organizations who are coming together to establish and support each other in our growth in order to create a solid economic foundation for our future generation. We are based on core values. The core values are honesty, accountability, transparency, building for the future generation, love for self and love for others, our commitment to excellence, being good stewards to the planet, and acknowledging our ancestors in everything we do. It's important for me to frame that and for you guys to know, because as we're going into this political discussion, a lot of times it is important to align your beliefs and your values with where you're putting your political energy behind. And so this is, what we're one of the things that we're here for. So, all right. And so with no further ado, let's get this party started. So Queen, first, just I'll give a quick recap of the current political parties. Unfortunately, it seems like there's only really two main parties, but
Yes, I it's right here. It's in front of me here as well. So, yes, liberal over
mhm.
conservative. Hmm.
That's like it really comes down to those two seems like the main. But I'll give you guys just I had prepared just a quick little document. Shout out to ChatGPT, of course. But just a quick recap of our political parties that we currently have right now. With just a quick little one or two liner about each one, just so you guys could have a overall comme un résumé, so to speak. So we have the Liberal Party, which is led by Mark Carney. Their focus is economic resilience, national security, and a balanced government. Their key policies, defense, when it comes to defense and sovereignty. And matter of fact, actually, do I want to go into all that about each one? No, you know, I'm going to do the focus on each one, and then we'll dive into conversation. And then as needed, I do have some more information if we need to reference some things. So just again, just to repeat, so we have the Liberal Party led by Mark Carney, and their focus is economic resilience, national security, and a balanced government. We have the Conservative Party led by Paul Poliev. Their focus is economic freedom, reduce government intervention, and national energy independence. Third party, we have the New Democratic Party. That's the NDP. That's led by Rajmeet Singh. And focus is social equity, public service, and environmental sustainability. Then we have the Bloc Québécois, ran by Yves-François Blanchet. Focus is Quebec nationalism, cultural preservation, and provincial autonomy. And two more, Green Party, led by leaders Elizabeth, oh, there's me joining here, Elizabeth May and Jonathan Pedneau. The focus, environmental protection, social justice, and sustainable development. And the last party that we're discussing now is the People's Party of Canada. The leader is Maxime Bernier, and the focus is individual freedoms, limited government, and national sovereignty. All right. So, a welcome. Is it Galicia?
By Pope Francis, it doesn't guarantee his vision will continue.
Okay, and this is a community meeting. It is important that if you could identify yourself within the space, just so we know who is here. Gail, nice having you. Thank you, Queen. In a couple more seconds, we might have to eject you because we're like, who is this? But yes, Gail, thank you for joining us. Glad to have you here. This is right now you're joining the political discussion meeting. So this is not the gotta love our community. So we do have another Zoom meeting tomorrow. It's a meeting concerning the it's like a special AGM. So but today we're discussing politics. So you're welcome to be here. You're welcome to chime in. But the conversation is we're just here to talk politics. We're here to educate each other, to help each other for those who might not have had a chance to do the early voting and who's still on the fence. Okay, no problem, Queen. Nice having you, and we'll see you tomorrow if you can't stay. So yes, Sister Chanelli, I don't know if you want to give a quick about your background and then dive in if you have some questions, but we can have a conversation.
Yes. Well, to introduce myself, I'm Chanelli Jonas. And just to give a quick brief resume of who I am within the community itself and what I do, or what I represent. I focus, we're incorporated business, and we focus mainly on the legal field. So everything in regards to the legal field, everything in regards to, documents, papers, everything that has to go through the government. We focus on everything that has to do with that. That's going to help another, that's going to bring them to their better self, that's going to get them to where they want to go. So that means helping them erase their debts, helping them with notaries, whether it's a transfer of a mortgage, whether it's a will they have to write. We help them with creating website as well. There's actually 14, to be specific, 14 services that we help our clients with, and we're growing as we go along. But my goal and what I focus on is basically to assess what is it that we have trouble with within the community and try to place it under one roof, rather than having people go here and there, different businesses. Why not have everything under one roof where it's easy access? And yeah, it's easier access for them, less work for them, less money for them as well. So that's what we do. We also focus on building projects abroad. But those are personal to myself. Currently here, we really focus on getting another person to their better self. And so this is why I took it on. My goal is to be within the OFC community, because I find that the values and the goal and the direction that OFC is going matches my value. And so this is why we decide to be, a partner with you guys and how to say this, to collaborate together, because I find that together we will get to the mission together. So yes,
Amazing. Good. Thank you so much for sharing. So let's dive in. So when it comes to our federal election, first of all, how are you feeling concerning the federal election coming up right now?
Well, I feel how to say how I feel that first of all, let me say this without being too personal. To I feel that Canada itself always know what direction to take. And why do I say that? I say that because the population always know that what's best for them. Why I say that to go into a little bit more details. Over the years, what I realize is that what the generation needs or what the population needs, they always tend to go into that direction. Whether the promises was made or whether it was not made, Canada always found a way to correct, like to emphasize or to place their opinion and to have change made. So right now, I think the direction that we're going, it is what's best for us. And another thing that I am so proud of when it comes to where we're headed is where, the government is now navigating in the direction of placing more of their financial income within Canada, where it's within Canada, it's sustained within us, and where he implemented that it's best that we, support local businesses and
Hmm.
support each other. I'm very happy about that. So I
So
hope
and
that
let me ask you a question. As you're going down that route, because
yes.
because it seems like a lot of these things are stemming from what is happening down south and
Mm, mm,
the tariff threats and stuff like that. It is making Canada focus more on Canada, which I think
mm,
is good for our resilience and our strength. Now,
mm,
when it comes to the political parties, and again, we don't really
mm.
hear much like I don't did you have an opportunity to watch the debates? I'm not sure if you did or not.
Well,
Um,
I'm watching it like as we speak. Yes, I'm looking at it as we speak. It
so
goes on and it goes on. The
yeah,
final week actually, yes.
so
Mm,
so basically it's like it seems
mm,
like everybody has a plan, so to speak, right, to push
mm,
back when it comes to Trump and everybody, like and like you had already said, Canada seems to be fighting back when it comes to raising our own tariffs. Like we seem really independent right now
mm,
as a community, right? So we need to kind of
mm,
focus on us. So as Canada is focusing on itself, as a
mm.
community, we need to focus on ourselves, right? And this is
Correct,
one of the reasons why we came together and said, let's just have this dialogue and talk a little bit about politics.
correct.
It is what, like, first of all, from the parties that you've heard,
Mm,
do you feel there's any parties that are aligned with the community needs? Are there any
mhm.
things that are still gray for you? Because I like,
Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
like, are there things that like, yeah,
Mm.
just in your
So,
opinion, are
so,
there, first of all, is there parties
mm,
that are
yeah.
aligning with you as
Mm.
an individual or the community?
Yes. So if we go on the liberal, there's pieces there and pieces there that if I wish I could have just take this from there, take this from there, and then create our own. To which I think this is what we will do. We'll take what this is doing. So for instance, when it comes to the liberal, the fact that they're focusing on the economic um like the economic structure of Canada, like this is a good thing, right? This is a good thing. There's pieces that the conservative also have, and they focus mainly on the conservative meaning of how we can save there and how we can, and there's pieces of there that I listen to them and I'm like, that's good as well. And so I feel as though the what's her name? I don't want to the our skin complexion lady. Um
I, but wait, this is you're talking is she a political leader? Like
it- um um what's her name?
because
Okay, so just to now when it go as I'll come to me as we go. When I look
okay.
at all of the different parties,
Hmm.
just to now they do have pieces that we need, but it's not really focusing on exactly what I find this is what they should do. You see, like how the government went and implement loans towards like face coalition loans towards the Black community and so forth,
Okay.
where now we
Yeah.
can go and have different loans. That was a genius idea. That's what that there is genius, right? Another thing that they should do, like they should implement, to which we don't really have to wait on them. like they should now go about going within the Black community, and since they can go within different communities as well, but I'm going to speak for us. They should go within the Black community and have surveys of what different people, what is it that is within that home that they're experiencing that is needed, because not everybody's at the level of needing, for instance, a business loan. Maybe they're not there as yet. So I find that their survey should be more like they should have people that goes within the community in like assess the family and see what is it that is needed so that they can come up with better solution on how to now approach the community itself, to which
Let me, and sorry to cut you. Let me, because I like what you're saying. I just want to recap, make sure I'm following you properly. So and welcome, Queen and Node, Brother Darren. Thank you for joining us. And you guys, this is a conversation, so definitely feel free to chime in if you have questions. If you're in a position to say something, you can say it. If you have stuff you want to put in the chat, as long as I catch it, I will. We could talk about it, but we're community guys, so we're here to talk. And the conversation is also broadcasting. So for those who are not able to participate or join us in the Zoom, they're able to watch it on YouTube. So so basically what I'm understanding is right now, whatever party that comes in, one of the things that you're saying that would be a good thing for the party to do for the community is to really get a pulse of what the needs of the people are.
Yes.
And you made reference to the money coming into the community. Now we know the Liberal Party, they were responsible for injecting hundreds of millions of dollars within the Black community. And I think that was something that is really commendable. I think it is something that it was something needed. It did come with there was a bit of a push to be able to get it to happen, because I do know it wasn't like they just jumped to it and said, okay, here people, community people, here's hundreds of millions. We did actually have to advocate. We did have to push. The UN came with the UN Decade for People of African Descent. So Canada did get involved, a bit late in the game, so to speak, but they did get involved nonetheless. So now with the money that was injected in the community, do you feel more confident towards the Liberal Party in them being able to continue to sustain us? And do you think there's other parties that could potentially do the same? Like, does it have to, do we have to rally behind the Liberal Party, or are there other political parties that could support us the same way?
Love that question. Love that. So yes, so there's two ways to that. So yes, I'm in advocate for the fact that they did that. I know it's commendable that they did that, right? What I look at the good and the bad within things. So yes, it's commendable that they went and placed money into us. The other side that I look upon that is that in order to get access to that money, one needs to, for instance, if we're not taking care of the debts, because even to get towards that money, the debt you have to take care of the debt, because you can say all that you want to, oh, okay, I'm ready for a company. One can say, I'm ready, okay, let me go open up a business, but there's still steps that needs to first be initially taken before even getting to the money. And that is the debt, what the ratio, whatever they're dealing with. So I find that also, while they're implementing that they should also implement a solution to erase it, because that is what people are dealing with on a daily basis. That is where the stress is at. And if one is in stress of thinking about that, then they cannot really think about business wise. It's hard to think about that. And even when going to get like, say for example, now with the debt, one say, okay, yes, I have that, but let me open a business. Nevertheless, they still have to go back to number one to raise that. So I think that, it should be publicized, and whether the Liberal does it, the Conservative does it, I find that they lack advertising the programs that facilitate this towards our community, and this is why we're here as well, so
that is, I'm sorry for cutting you,
no stress.
but it is, but one of the things, and this is an argument actually that I have heard because it's one thing to inject money within the community, but it's another thing to ensure that that money is going towards like sustainability and ensuring that like you had said that one is like people like helping making sure people are out of debt, making sure people could actually access the money that has become available. Now the I think one of the loudest things or well, one of the things I heard off a lot in these last couple of weeks when we're talking about politics, peace and blessings, Brother Walker. Thanks for joining us. Was the money came, but did it have the impact, right? And so then that is something else that we need to consider. So maybe we could. And again, I want to get, I don't want you and I to completely capitalize the entire
Correct.
conversation. If
Yes,
anybody else
yes.
has any questions or any comments, please, you guys feel free to chime in. Um,
Mm,
uh,
mm.
Brother Dan, did you want to say something?
I just want to. But
Yeah,
just
go
okay.
for
You
it.
want okay? Yeah, go on. I'll
No,
let
no, no,
you.
go ahead.
How to know if okay? Maybe if I swap. Okay, good. There we go. Now I can see everyone. Okay, good.
Okay, very good. And if you are in a situation where you can turn on your cameras, it'd be awesome to see you guys so we could have a real conversation. We're not just talking to the screens.
For
It
sure.
is awesome to see everybody. Yeah, so Brother John, thank you for joining us. So for you, do you have questions about politics, concerns about any of the political parties? Do you have any feedback that you'd like to share with the community, things that people should consider?
So for me, after watching the debate, and this is just me from my point of view, I feel like the conservatives came out pretty like we're throwing some good points in the
Mhm,
debate in
mhm,
terms of like the military, because a lot of the times, like Canada's military is weak for the longest while, like
good point.
if a war breaks out or something, or the US or something tries to take us over, our military is extremely weak. Like,
Mhm.
a lot of the times, we were peacemaking country, and we were kind of like hiding behind the US to back us up. And it's like a big eye opener was when it's like the US now is like letting us know, like, listen, like, we're not gonna be here to protect you guys all
Take
the
care to
time.
take care of you.
Exactly, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I like that part that the conservatives actually pushed that and said, we really need to like look into our military to do something with the military. The liberals too kind of were looking into that, but I find the conservatives are like more, like that's on their agenda, which
Well
I
said. Thank you.
noticed.
And
Mm,
you just brought an amazing point. So thank you.
true. Mhm.
And that is actually something else that I had heard in conversation is like it's we don't put enough emphasis on ensuring that we are safe as a country. So the conservatives did lay some heavy points to that as well. So thank you. Sister Chanel, you hadn't finished your point from before. Was there something else you wanted to add from before?
That is good. That is good. We'll leave it for after. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect what he just now said. And just to add to what he said, I find that is true because we were kind of depending on them, and you know what I find that was dommage. The fact that when they were in crisis and needed our help, we ran to their rescue. So it's now we were kind of like, if some, what the Bible say, you get slap on one cheek, you turn the other cheek. So how many times it's time for us to know, enough turning of the cheeks and stand for ourselves. So I agree with that. I agree with that. Because if anything is to happen, you know we have to fend for ourselves. So that is true. I like that as well. That is true. That is true.
Very, very powerful. Brother Walker, you could chime in. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Sorry, I was actually just messing around. I didn't get a chance to see the debates, so I want to be hesitant. I gotta be careful with what I say now. But it does seem like like, from what I'm gathering, it seems like they put a lot, the conservatives seem to have a lot of push with regards to the military and their presence. In my experience, we as Canadians, the Canadian military is actually considered very strong across the world. Like the world considers us as strong. but the view of us is as a peacemaker.
Mm.
So prior to my release from the military a couple years ago, the conversation was changing the tone from peacemaker to established nation. And based off this conversation, it almost seems like they're capitalizing on an idea that's already being put out there from before. So I just wanted to know if like the premise of the debate was really about this weakened military, which I did not see in the decade and a half of service. I did not see that. I saw Americans loving the work that we put out, loving our technology, our structures, our tactics, our strategies. I saw a lot of that, and I saw a lot of well, everybody knows that the Canadians are here, so we're good to go. And now the Americans are here to clean up after they done taking care of everything. So it was a very different perspective from what I understand and what I'm hearing.
So then is it safe to say then, and again, you have a great vantage point because you were part of the military as well, so you got to see things from the inside where a lot of us are, we just kind of see from the outside. So thank you for being here and thank you for sharing that. So from your perspective, then with the conservatives wanting to inject more capital into the military, do you see that as a plus, a minus, or just it doesn't make much of a difference in your opinion? And shout out Ken, thanks for being with us this evening. Okay, go ahead.
It makes a huge difference, but it's a matter of where they're trying to allocate these funds and resources, because it wasn't more than a few decades ago that we had an issue in Quebec with regards to where the Quebec wanted to take the military bases that were established here, what they wanted to do with that. So when I hear people talking about the military, or at least even the conservatives, right now talking about the military, it kind of like brings out a sense of like, well, where's that money going to go? And do we have to work with certain people running the streets talking about we need more rights? Like, what does that really mean?
Wow. And
I'm just
very, very well said. I think that is an amazing point. And it also brings me to something else that you and I have discussed at length is in terms of the let's try to find a nice word of saying it. The unbalanced treatment of people of darker hues within the military going through different type of experiences that aren't necessarily ideal. So if there is a way to did I say that in a politically correct way? I really try to. So, but the idea is to just say, if we're going to be investing, maybe a portion of that investment should be in terms of just ensuring just proper treatment for everybody across the board, because there has been, talks of let's just be very blunt, like racism within the military. That is something that we do need to address.
Hard one. Only because we're on it. I want to make people aware that a class action was put into effect 2 years ago. Basically, a settlement was reached where Canada refuses to claim that there has been any discrimination on the part of the government. So a settlement was put out that all Canadian soldiers from 1988, I believe, or 1983 or 1988, one of these days, any Canadian soldier who identifies as Pan-African is entitled to part of that settlement. Wow. And it increases, so but the thing about it is that there is no, if you read the case, basically they're saying like, we've been advocating for this, we've been advocating for this, we've been advocating this for so many years, and now we're not seeing anything. So we've just come to a settlement where the government's saying that we're not going to claim that there is any kind of false treatment.
But here's a little hush money. You guys feel better, and let's keep moving.
Essentially. Okay. So really, this talk about military force and military might. There's also the idea of bringing Canadians together. In my mind, I want to see illusion of bringing us together. But the idea of targeting the military, when the military has been doing, and this is not because I'm a patriot or anything like this. My experience was terrible. But the military has been doing the Canadian military has been doing above and beyond on the world stage.
Okay, so
to try and belittle their efforts, belittle us to try and get some kind of political gain, it just doesn't sit right with me.
Okay, well said. Welcome, Queen Okama. Thank you for being here, and welcome, Queen Michelle. Thank you for joining us and for being a part of the conversation this evening. So, in case you guys are wondering, the reason we're just talking a little bit about military is because we were talking about the debate and the fact that the conservatives did mention that they were planning on injecting more capital into the military. So that's why we got into this topic. But this is like an open discussion where we're here, really just sharing our point of views, sharing our thoughts, sharing our experiences, what we're taking from the different parties. We had previously discussed as well about the capital that the Liberal Party had injected into the Black community, the pros and cons of that. Like, did it have the impact? Like, sort of money came in, but one of the points that did come up was the money came in, but there's still people in debt. There's still people struggling. There's still people. Some people couldn't even access all this money that became available. So, did the money really have an impact on our community? And how should we be thinking moving forward, looking at the parties that are in front of us? All right, so that's where we're at. Did anybody have any so far? Did anybody
Yeah,
else have anything else?
I wanted to add in when it comes to the subject on the military. So there is the pour and the contre for the military. For me, it's good that we're on top, when it comes to the military. Now, because my mind always think the good and the bad. My question is, when it comes to the military, is this: the money that has been injected into the military, either towards advancing, for better tools, better, whatever outfit, whatever it is. My thing is, how often do we need to go into war, or how often war happens, or how often is the military need to be sent out? And say, for example, that is, I'm just giving a number, twice per year. My question is, all this money that's been injected, it's not being utilized. So part of me is thinking that the fact that the military is not something that is used on an everyday basis, on a grand scale. So it's like just sitting money that's there that can be used towards different things, because how often do we go into war, And so all this money has been poured in. How often is in, it's like we're not using it every day. The military is not sent out every day, every day, every day. So that's my question when it comes to that. So then that portion should be used toward it, because if the government realize that if they can target eliminating, how to say this, eliminating the stress of the economy, of the economy, the economy, yes. Yes, if they can target eliminating that, then they can now get the scale up on advancing the nation towards, now going towards opening, towards betterment. For me, it's the stress that the nation is facing that I'm so, and this is why I do what I do when it comes to eliminating 80% of the debt of the client. We erase 80%. That's why I'm so strongly focused on that, because once we get them out of there, because it makes no sense to be putting money anywhere that it's just either going back to the people in high position.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, and I hear what you're saying there, but I think, well, in my opinion, and definitely I would like if people have thoughts on this, and then we could go on to another topic, because we said we would take an hour, so like we don't have that much time. Time flies. But this and actually with that, we'll try to keep our responses and questions short so we could get more chat time in. But in my opinion, I think prevention is better than cure. I don't want to wait until we need our military to be like, let's start getting it ready. So although we don't use it often, and again, anybody who knows me, I'm not an advocate of war. I'm not an advocate of fighting. I'm all about peace. Let's just figure out the middle ground. But unfortunately, not everybody is on that. So because of that, I think in my opinion, it is a value to invest in ensuring, that we have a defense, because it's like amassing a lot of wealth with no front door, where anybody could just kind of just walk in and just take it, right? So that's my only 2 cents on that. But I think if just to ensure that we get the most out of the time, we have there's some main political parties. Are there, do people have any concerns or questions concerning any of the parties that are out there? Do anybody and feel no way if you support a political party, you're welcome to share like why you support them, why you think it's a good party for the community. Like there's no wrong answers here, and no one's here to judge anybody, and we're not here to beef. But you know, like, but you could possibly share something that could enlighten somebody or educate somebody to something. All right, so just feel
Me,
free to share if
me,
you're comfortable.
I like
Oh,
most
wait.
importantly.
Sorry, 1 second,
Oh,
Brother Darren, not to cut you, but Sister Okama just raised her hand.
oh,
So
okay.
if she could speak, and then you could go right after.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So, I don't know if it was already raised, but you all know last week was the UN conference on people of African descent. It was from the 14th to the 17th in New York. And they launched the second decade for people of African descent. So the first decade, went by so quickly, and before we realized the first decade, it was almost ended.
Right, yeah.
And so one of the lobby actions we did was to establish a permanent forum, and the permanent forum has been in effect since 2022. So
Okay.
every year they have a conference in 2022, they had it in Geneva.
Yeah.
In 2023, in New York. Then 2024, it went back to Geneva. And this year, last week, was in New York. And so it's something that is going to be continued. But the best part of it is that the lobby work led to the declaration of the second decade, which, was just launched last week. So we have 10 years. And we're starting now with knowing what we want. The decade is for development, justice, and recognition of people of African
Beautiful.
descent. And this year, they've also launched reparations.
Wow.
Reparations. We're fighting for reparations. And so the government of Canada, the Canadian government, is actually a co-sponsor of the decade.
Okay.
And so one of the things that we need to make sure the politicians put on the map. You spoke earlier about the funding that was allocated for, Black community, but we don't know, who actually benefited and how much was utilized. I know that a number of the bigger organizations are asking for, more allocation. But one of the things we want to put on the resolution is that there is actually funds allocated as part of Canada's sponsorship, co-sponsorship of the second decade, that specific budget is dedicated for launching the decade here in Canada, province, all through the provinces. People should know what it is and what it can do for the Black community. And we should request that we have like a secretariat or a means to actually implement
That's
this
it.
in Canada.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that, sister. Like some form of accountability. That is a huge point. And actually, I have a question to for in line with that, but I'll let Brother Darren go, and then I'll ask my question.
One thing I noticed that lacked a little bit in the debate, which there was only, I think, the NDP that spoke about it a little bit, was healthcare. Like the
Healthcare.
Liberals didn't really, I didn't hear them talk about anything on
Yeah, I
healthcare,
think
and the
it's just the
Conservatives
NDP. I think
either.
the NDP had a plan to increase nurses or something like that. I think that was the
Yes.
what I had gotten when I had went through it. But it's okay, yeah, that is true. I didn't hear much other parties addressing that either in terms of healthcare. Very, very good point. So I think it's only for those who are concerned about healthcare. I know NDP is championing it, but I don't know who else. Concerning what I'm really happy to hear concerning this renewal of the decade or a new decade is that it exists. Now maybe you could, because you're a little more involved on the political side and stuff as well, Now, from what I remember in Canada was a late adopter, so to speak. Like we didn't jump on it. We only jumped on the decade towards the end. Hence why we barely was able to get anything going, right? And then the fact that we lobbied, this is how we were able to get it. Now, does it matter which political party comes into place at this point? Seeing that the decade was already announced in Canada is like you said, I think was a co-signer of it or a sponsor of it, co-sponsor. Now does it matter? Would the Liberals have to be in power to continue that? Can the Conservatives come in and just basically, because that's already in place, now they have to respect it? Can the NDPs? If you could explain that, and then Brother Ken, the floor will be yours right after. So a comment, I don't know if
any party, it is a United Nation
like mandate almost
declaration. It's a mandate from the UN, and so any government in power needs to endorse that. But I think the important thing is really ensuring that there is a budget component to it, because it can be there, and every year, they send representation to the UN to say, yeah, we co-sponsored it and we're talking about it. They may hold, a couple of dialogue sessions and just, take their favorite ministers to go and talk about it. But what we want is, implementation, a framework for implementation that is supported by resources. And, so we will have to present maybe something to Parliament.
Okay.
So whichever government is in place, let's put up, a request to present our case to the Parliament, and that should be accompanied with, financial, a budget allocation. And it can also even be, we should be specific too. We can ask Global Affairs Canada to be actually the organization that is supporting this.
Let's not dive too much into strategy yet. Right now we're still at the gate. We're trying to figure out who we're voting for next Monday. So
who we're voting for next Monday? Okay.
But it does seem like
do we have any preference?
Yeah, this is what we're here to discuss. Is there? But anyway, let Ken ask his question or make his comment, and then let's dialogue a little bit.
Yeah, yes. Thank you for putting this together, Pharaoh. And it's a really great question. Who we are voting for, and I was never a great person interested in politics until Trump came into the portrait in the U.S. And what I've realized is that the Republican Party is like the conservatives.
Okay.
What I realized is the liberals are the Democrats.
Okay.
I cannot align myself with the conservatives because there's a lot of their policies that on abortion and everything else, women's rights, etc., that I cannot align myself with.
Okay.
So from the age of 18, I never knew why I voted liberal. And I voted liberal because they were more in line with the values that I appreciated about Canada. So when Trump came into power 8 years ago, and I began interested in American politics, I realized that the Republican Party is conservatives and the Liberal Party is Democrats. So for me, Liberal Party. Okay, so I've said that. Now, the next thing that's really important is that Poilievre is interesting person, but he sows fear just like Trump does. Oh, worry about this, worry about that, blah, blah. He does the same behavior as Trump. And I can't tolerate that.
Okay.
And that's not Canadian values. Okay. So I can't support that. I think that Mark Carney can go in. He's older, wiser. He can, and Trump is going to respect that. Versus Poilievre, who's younger, naive, thinks he can do all these things, it will be a failure on a colossal scale. So, no.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Ken.
Conservatives are out the door. Liberals are in. Now, yes, but Mark is not Trudeau. And he said that before. So, like, you're fighting against me. It's not the same person you're fighting against. So, I think we need to do business with a person that's older, wiser, has gone through crises after crises, and don't forget who put Mark Carnot in his position. It was a conservative. A conservative. I can't remember his name right now, but
right.
It was the conservatives that put him into his place to
Okay.
look after the money, in Canada, and then he moved over to the
The liberal side.
no, he moved over to the to London,
Okay, right.
British
Okay, good.
Parliament. So Mark has the experience that Poilievre doesn't have, and I think we need to put our faith and trust in him. And for sure, I love Singh. The NDP party is great. Their values are great. And I can align myself more towards them, but I think at the end of the day, we need somebody who has the strength, the knowledge, etc., that can go up against Trump. We need to give the liberals a mandate. Now, for sure, we've got issues with the liberals. I'm not debating that. I'm just saying I think Mark Carney right now is the person we need.
Okay. All right. So
the older, wiser person.
Okay, Ken. All right, we got that point. All right.
The younger person who thinks he knows it all, and
I know, but okay, but let's
alive.
Let's not repeat things over just to give everybody opportunity to say stuff. So we got the point. If there's something new you want to add,
I'm done.
Good. Thank you. But I appreciate that, and thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing the perspective. I definitely appreciate having you here, and because it's funny what you said is a lot of the arguments that I hear. Actually, I hear positive and negative on both sides. So when it comes to the liberals, I do hear that everything you just said in terms of the experience that he has and what he's bringing to the table. But then on the flip side, I do hear that the liberals are known for making a lot of promises and not really following through. And just over the last couple of years, we've experienced the liberals, and it really wasn't awesome for everybody.
Mark is not there.
If we could all just, give ourselves some time to chat. Now, in terms of the conservatives do have a different way of going about it. I wouldn't go as far as comparing the conservatives to Republicans or to that. I wouldn't go that far.
It's a naive approach.
Okay, but Ken, you see this argumentative approach you're taking? It's not going to fly.
I'm making a point. I'm making a point.
But I'm making a point too.
If you actually looked at everything, you'd say, "Oh."
And no, actually, I'm making a point because even your approach, and if this is the liberal approach, you're turning me off. All right. If the approach is to cut people off, jump in and argue and make things argumentative, I'm not down.
Fine. I don't need
all right. I'm just saying, like we have a forum that there's a certain order and respect in terms of how we're communicating. They can't just leave the meeting completely. Well, if he is trying to represent for a party, like he's turned me off. Okay, if I was open to this liberal concept, I am turned off. Like we're here to have a dialogue. We're here to have a conversation about the parties, and I think and I feel it's been respectful. Everybody's entitled to give their 2 cents in terms of how it goes. When it comes to the conservatives, I think one of the advantages, actually, and we shouldn't even just talk conservative and liberal, right? Because there's the NDP, to be fair to them, and there's a Green Party. But if it's really hard to endorse the Green Party just because they just don't have enough weight. Like I really wish they did, because they're most in line with my values. When I did my values test, the Green Party's in line with my values. But just understanding the political game, so to speak, it's just unfortunate they just don't have enough chips in the game for us to actually, move the dial, right? So then you have the NDP. if we could rally around the NDP, maybe they could have a little more weight. But again, it's just it's not strong enough. So really, that's why it really comes down to conservative and liberals. So again, liberals have a lot of our attention within our community. What I hear often is really they've given us money, so we should be supporting them. That's the main rhetoric I hear within our community. But unfortunately, because the money didn't necessarily have the impact, the liberals didn't necessarily have the follow through to ensure that the community properly benefited from the injection of capital. It didn't necessarily hold weight. The conservatives, I can't necessarily fully endorse the conservatives, except for the fact that, like they're coming with a new approach. I do like the idea of supporting like supporting more autonomy, supporting less government implementation. I do actually resonate more with that. But that's my personal stance on it. And in all transparency, the last couple of years, it was just like I said, when it comes to the Liberal Party, I didn't enjoy the experience as an individual. There's just and I had personally said that when it is election time, this is when when my voice is going to count, because there was a time where my voice didn't count at all, and my opinions didn't count, my rights were completely violated. So those type of things I can't forget. So for me, that's my that's my 2 cents on the topic. But Sister Okama, you could chime in. And I'm looking at the time. So, and again, like the whole purpose of us coming together was to dialogue, was for us to share, was for people to be able to ask questions. I don't know if people still have questions that weren't answered, because we are going to be looking to wrap up in the next couple of minutes. So if you did have questions, you could put them in the chat, or you could put your hand up so you could still ask your question in our last couple of minutes. But I just want to make sure that it was educational and empowering for everybody who participated. All right, Sister Okama, the floor is yours.
It is. It's actually one of the first few forums that I've been in where this kind of conversation is taking place. So it's very good. We could definitely do more of this. I speak from the West. I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, and the Conservatives have been basically ruling. Our premier is Conservative, and maybe you guys have heard about some of the actions she's taken in the last few months, actually trying to buddy up to President Trump, and alienating actually the province from the unification, the unity, patriotism that was being discussed by all other premiers in the country. So we're having a bit of a struggle with her leadership. And also here in the West, they kind of see, for them, it's a clear cut between the West with the oil production and the oil going into the big pot, and the big pot supporting mostly the East. That is the tension between the East and the West.
Okay.
So there is that struggle. And in fact, one of the fears that we are facing here is that Canada might actually try to toe the Quebec old line of separating from Alberta, might try to, go on that separating from Canada. And what is there going to be for the province if they even go that direction? But there is that fear. And recently, they came up with a poll saying that every 2 in 4 Albertans who were surveyed said that they would be open for something like that. So these are just some of the issues that are playing in this election. It's next week. At this point, I'm NDP. I'm NDP because they're just more progressive and more deliberate about the support for the average person on the street here. So yeah, I'm NDP. But what we're focused on is who will be able to deliver the needs of Canada in this particular instance. And I mean, Obviously, the Liberals would not have called for snap elections if they didn't think they had a strong chance of winning. So while I think that, I'm NDP and obviously I want to support that, I think we need to just make sure there are enough Black folks that are being elected to go to the next level to serve in whatever government is is going to win. And I strongly feel that the Liberals are going to win it because Mark Carney is the only person who really has a clear idea of how to counter some of this tantrics from President Trump. So
Okay, well,
that is the thinking from this side.
thank you. And again, and thank you for sharing that. I think so if as we're preparing to conclude and just in respecting everybody's time, I think one of the things we should be considering as a community is how to take care of ourselves as a community. And when I say take care of ourselves, I don't even I don't necessarily mean as a Black community, because you guys know the OFC, we're here for all nationalities. Everybody who respects and supports the values are welcome to be a part of this community. But I do think it's time that we start to operate as a body, in the sense that maybe in the next federal election coming up, we give ourselves a little more bandwidth where we could actually discuss as a community where, as a whole, we could put our energy and put our votes where it actually has a kind of impact, because we're about 17,000 subscribers, like, across Canada, across even into the United States and different parts of the world. But if we were to now galvanize that energy, so to speak, and say, you know what, let's be strategic and who's best for us, then with that kind of weight, maybe we all could vote NDP, and it does have a certain influence, because now we're talking over 10,000 votes going in a particular direction. But even prior to doing that, we're sitting down with the political parties. We're encouraging our own members to become, representatives in different cities, different areas, and stuff like that. That is where we could start getting more ahead of it. And so, but because we're here right now, the elections are coming up on Monday. I think it's really important that we align whoever we vote for, that they align with our values, they align with what we see as best. Yes, it is good to vote strategically, to a certain extent. Tomorrow, the OFC, we're going to put out a just a little call it like a blog entry or whatever. It's some of the research that we've done, just educating the community who needs it on the different parties. But one of the things we're highlighting in the entry also is just red flags from each party, from Conservative, NDP, Liberal. And I think it's important that, everybody always just promotes what the parties are known for and what they talk about all the time. But it is good to kind of flip it and say, like, okay, well, why would that, let's brainstorm in the sense of why would this potentially not work? Or what have they promised in the past but haven't delivered yet, right? And just so we could now start making more use more critical thinking when it comes to it. So that's going to be going out for anybody who's interested. We'll send it out by email, and we'll share it on our platform, so you guys could check that out as well. But with that, I think, like you just said, Sister Okama, I think this is amazing. And again, I think it really just speak to the spirit of what the OFC is about. We are here in respect and love and unity, where we welcome everybody's differences. We welcome who we are as a people, and we're able to communicate and dialogue in a way where, like you just said, it's at times you can't bring different political parties in a room because it goes in a different way. But I think if you set a certain standard, a certain structure, and like how energy works, if people don't respect that structure, they're just not a part of the party. Okay, that's just how it goes. But I think the idea is for us to be able to dialogue as a community. I think it's empowering for ourselves, and it's a great example to show for the future generation coming up. So again, I thank you all for being present here. You guys know me, I like taking group shots, so we're going to take a quick group shot with everybody's here. If you
What
can't
do you do with these group shots? I never see them anywhere.
you never see them, but you gotta talk to B. We have all kind of awesome pictures in the back, but you're actually, we got to do a better job of putting them out onto the greater community. But a lot of times we just share them on our platforms and people miss them.
So and for a quick update, this was updated at 7:52 a.m. This is according to CTV News. You know, we don't know if it changed by then, but Liberals lead by 5 points over Conservative on day 32 as NDP loses post-dated bumps. So that's the news that I'm looking at so far on April 23rd.
Nice. Okay. All right. So, so
That-
Ken is going to be happy for that. And anybody else who's supporting Liberal is happy for that. I'm basically, regardless to what party, like I'm here for my community. I'm here for the OFC. So whoever comes into party, I'm going to be knocking on the door and being like, look, this is what we need as a people. So it is what it is. All right. And see, Darren just said, Sister Kama, he's seen the group shots. Okay. So they do come out, but you know how our messages go. We get a lot of interaction, a lot of chat. It is possible to disappear, but we'll do a better job. All right, quick group shot. Wait, did I do that right? Let me see. Did I get us? Okay, I think I did. I think I got us. With that, guys, I'm always grateful to life, God, our creator, and our ancestors for creating these spaces and creating this opportunity for us to be able to get together and to build. And I just ask that we be kept safe, in great health, in great spirits where we are, and we be guided when it is time to vote this coming Monday, that we vote in the best way. And I just pray that the best political party comes in to represent Canada, that is going to keep the people first, keep us safe, keep us protected, and keep us empowered as a community. Hotep, amen, and ashe. Thank you all. Sending you guys love, light, and strength, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Bye.
Peace, guys.